Alright, hello, welcome to A to Z Ozone. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to show you how to replace the air pump on the MP3, which would be the same thing as changing the air pump on the MP1, the MP3, the MP5, and the MP8. Only difference is the MP1 will just be a slightly different air pump, and you'll just take screws out instead of having a nut. It's very simple, exact same process. Alright, so have your spare air pump here and ready. So, first thing that you'll do is there are screws around the outside perimeter. We'll go ahead and remove those. Place them in a little dish, a little cup, something off to the side so that way you don't lose any. Alright, you're good to go ahead and remove the outside shell. Alright, which then exposes your whole unit. Down here is your air pump. If you flip over your unit, there will be 4 screws right here. You'll need to remove the nut off of them. It is a nylon insert nut, so it's a little more difficult to unscrew at the beginning, but once you get it started, it gets pretty easy. When you're unscrewing these, make sure not to lose any. Place them in the cup next to you whenever you get them off. Alright, so now your air pump is loose. You want to make sure to hold it while you're removing those nuts off of the screw. Otherwise, your air pump could fall, and then after it falls, it could damage something, and we don't want that to happen. So, if this is a non-repaired unit, there will be a wire tie right here. You'll just go ahead and cut that so that way all these wires are loose. There is a bulkhead nut right here on this side. You'll go ahead and loosen that to get the other air pump to release, and you'll be able to pull everything out. Alright, so now you can pull your air pump out like so. Go ahead and remove the nut off the end. Then your pump is just connected by the power cord now. If you can turn it over to the other side. And your power sources are right here. They're plugged into the back of the air pump or compressor power switch. So you'll just go ahead and remove those. You can do it with your hand. My hand's a little bit bigger, so it's a little harder to get in there, so I go ahead and use some pliers. So, go ahead and pull off the top 2. If you want, you can also take a picture of it so that way you can know exactly where each wire goes. Otherwise, you could just look at the other switches, and the black wires are on the right, and the white wire is on the left. So, you can look at the switches or you can take a picture, either one. But now, your air pump is uninstalled, so you can dispose of this how you please, whether you recycle it. We would prefer you recycle it over throwing it out. So go ahead and set it off to the side. Grab your new air pump. I recommend going ahead and putting it in while you have the other side facing you, so that way you can get to where your wires are supposed to connect a little bit easier. So go ahead and push them onto the connectors. Remember, the white goes on the left and the black goes on the right. Alright, now that we have that connected, we can go ahead and turn our unit back around. You go ahead and get the feet of the air pump lined up with the holes so that way it fits in properly. Turn the unit on its side while holding on to the air pump, otherwise you are going to damage something. And you go ahead and start tightening the first nut on there, and then just continue on. You'll go ahead and tighten those all the way down. Make sure that they're nice and firmly snug, because if it's not firmly snug, you could get a rattle in your air pump, which makes a very loud noise. So we're trying to prevent that, so just make sure it's nice and tight, nice and snug. After you get the first two on, you don't really have to hold the air pump down anymore. So we're good to go ahead and turn the unit back over. If you have zip ties at home, I recommend going ahead and zip tying up the wires, just so that way they're not just randomly running everywhere. It's controlled. You have less chance of them coming in contact with something and breaking, so it's just better off. But you want to make sure not to make your zip tie too tight, because if the zip tie is too tight, it can break the cord also. So when you put it on there, make sure it's nice and snug but not too tight. You want it to be able to easily move by itself, but not move too much. Go ahead and cut off the excess. And then you go ahead and take the nut that was on the bulkhead of the inside of the air pump. You go ahead and connect it to the tube of the new air pump. Kind of thread it down there a little bit so that way you can place the end of it onto your bulkhead with ease. Once you get your bulkhead fitted, you go ahead and tighten that nut back up. Alright, so now that that's tight, we have actually completed the repair. The only thing we have left to do is put the cover on and test it to make sure it works. Go ahead and take your handful of screws that you put in your little cup. When you're putting the screws down, you want to make sure that all the holes do line up. If they don't line up, sometimes your cover won't fit right. So it's best to just check it before you start, so that way you don't have to go and do everything that you already did. Right there is a prime example of what happens when you don't check it before. Your screws won't be able to go in, they'll go in at an angle, it won't look good. So just go ahead and loosen those up a little bit, and then you're able to easily modify where the screw's positioning is. See? Simple as that. Alright, now that the case is back on, we'll go ahead and grab your power cord, plug it into the back of the unit, take the other end, plug it into the wall. The moment of truth. It works. Alright, so we've now successfully repaired your air pump and replaced it, so that way if you ever come up with this problem, it's easy and simple to do at home. Now you have the knowledge. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them on our site, or it's a2zozone.com, or you can leave a comment below in the video, and we will respond to the comment. If you have any suggestions for videos, please give them to us. We're always open for new suggestions. Thank you.